Tony burned the love tokens from his 3 fiancés without hesitation, then got into the wedding car without looking back. But the 3 fiancés only realized after returning home that Tony was really getting married. They panicked, thinking he had just left, and rushed to the hotel hoping to stop the wedding. But they didn't know this was the price they had to pay. Half a month earlier, Tony had been waiting at the civil affairs office, but the 3 fiancés stood him up just because Mike had a fever. Mike even boasted that he could make them abandon Tony with any excuse. Hearing this broke Tony's heart. He threw his flowers into the trash and turned to leave. Just then, a wealthy woman in a hurry to marry stopped him, saying if he was in a rush, he should consider her. Without hesitation, Tony took her hand and registered the marriage. After receiving the certificate, she eagerly asked when they could hold the wedding. Tony said in half a month. To prepare everything, she agreed and left. Right after that, the 3 fiancés showed up, saying since they missed registering today, the wedding would have to wait until next year. Tony just sneered and said he was already married, then showed them the certificate. The 3rd sister grabbed it and tore it up, thinking it was a prank. After all, Tony had been adopted by their father. After his parents passed away, all 3 had welcomed him and said one day they'd marry him, then gave him a ring, saying he could give it to whoever he wanted to marry. His first car was bought by the eldest sister. The second gave him a watch for his coming of age. But everything changed when Mike appeared. One time, Tony got hit by a car, saving the eldest sister, but they only cared about Mike's scraped knee. At dinner, the maid spilled soup on Tony on purpose. They didn't scold the maid, instead said Tony was being dramatic. Not long after, Mike wore Tony's wedding suit and flaunted it in front of the fiancés. Tony got furious and told him to take it off. Mike pretended he had never worn such fine clothes and begged Tony to give it to him. Tony refused and said it was designed by his wife for the wedding. He was about to take it off himself when the eldest sister got mad and scolded him. The 3rd sister called him stingy and offered to buy him a new one with her black card. Tony replied the suit was priceless to him, so Mike had to take it off. Hearing this, the 3rd sister snapped, saying his wife could only be one of them. Mike saw the tension and said he'd go change upstairs, but when he came down, the suit was mysteriously torn. The 3 sisters didn't seem to care about Tony's reaction. At the auction the next day, Tony wanted to buy back his parents' jade pendant, but the fiancés and Mike also showed up and outbid him every time he raised his paddle. The eldest sister won the auction. Tony was devastated. Mike smashed the pendant on the ground. As Tony scrambled to pick up the pieces, Mike threw them into a fountain. Tony went mad searching for them. The fiancés tried to comfort him, saying it wasn't worth it, but they didn't know it was the only keepsake from his parents. Heartbroken, Tony burned all the gifts they'd given him. They asked him why, and he said he didn't want his wife to misunderstand. They still didn't believe he was getting married. Disappointed, Tony told them to come to the hotel at noon tomorrow for the wedding. The next day, only his adoptive parents came to see him off. Tony got into the wedding car without hesitation, but on the road, he unexpectedly ran into the 3 fiancés.